Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the Championship. The takeover happened, as I said it would. People will be... Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, good afternoon and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. It's great to have you back, and it's great to be back. Obviously, we didn't do a video last night because ultimately it's very slow out there. You know, it's very slow out there at the minute. However, today there is a lot of news without there actually being news. There's a lot of rumour. There's a lot of rumour. There's a lot of things in the ether that we need to decipher and go through. A lot of it's coming from Wacko. Apparently in the next few days we will get another name from Phil here. This will be put out into the ether. Apparently there's 2 Premier League players that Leeds United are chasing. We'll have a chat about potentially who they could be. I do want to have a chat about Nottingham Forest and Everton as well, because I've read a few Athletic articles this morning and I'm telling you, it is a joy, not a joy to behold. That's the wrong thing to say. Any Nottingham Forest fans or Everton fans watching this, please believe me when I say you are both massive clubs, and it's a travesty what is actually happening to you. But rules be rules, and you have broken them rules. Or not you, the club have broken them rules. The Nottingham Forest case is wild. Wait till we go through some of these stories about certain players. This Newcastle deal that they did with the likes of Chris Wood and John Joe Shelby will blow your mind. Chris Wood's on 100 grand a week. I'm sorry. For that alone, you deserve to be punished. Genuinely, believe me when I say there is some mental stories. Big up Jake as well. Big up my guy. Another banger today. Like the vid if you haven't already, please do. Snowing here. It's snowing here now in Sunderland as well. It was snowing in Yorkshire. Yeah, Samarais, I'm not joking to you, bro. I'm not joking. And the way in which the deal was actually put together will blow your mind. Will blow your mind. I told you, listen, everyone has a go at Steve Cooper. He was not the problem. I'm telling you, when we go through this article, it is going to blow your mind. Some of the stories. I'm going to quickly share it with you now. It was sent to me on WhatsApp this morning. I thought, I have to find this. I have to find this. We're going to come back to this article, right? But let's just read this first of all, okay? This will blow your mind. So, by the time Forest signed Chris Wood and John Joe Shelby from Newcastle last January, they knew the numbers contained all sorts of risk. They went ahead and did it anyway. Wood signed on a loan with a clause in his contract that triggered a £15 million deal on 100k a week as soon as he was named in the matchday squad 3 times. Yeah, 3 times. So for being in the matchday squad just 3 times, they gave this guy 100k a week and also paid Newcastle 15 million. The guy was never worth 15 million. And best believe he should not be on 100 grand a week. This is Chris Wood. Carissa Wood, right? It gets better. Shelby was given a 2.5-year contract on roughly 75 grand a week. And within St. James's Park, the 2 transferred created something bordering on amazement. Put bluntly, they could not believe Forest thought it was good business. No one believes that's good business, apart from Marinokos and his crew. 100 grand a week for being in the matchday squad 3 times? 3 times? And you get 100 grand a week? Chris Wood? No, I'm sorry. It is insane. And again, Forest, huge club. You do not deserve what's going on to you. But for that alone, you should be relegated. I'm sorry. It is insane. There's even more stories on this, which we will get back to, right? We are going to get back to. It's insane. 100 grand a week. Yes, Mr. Dodo, 3 times. He didn't even have to play. He didn't even have to play. All he had to do was sit on the bench. Can you imagine that? Even if you didn't want to play, I'm thinking, yo, I'm going to run myself into the ground so I can sit on that bench 3 times. And guess what, baby? Pull out the red panties, as Conor McGregor would say, because we're rich. Do you know what I mean? Wow. I'd love to know what he was earning at Burnley. I'd love to know what he was earning at Newcastle. But Marinakos came on, the Greek Pavarotti, and said, do you know what? There's 100 smackers, baby. It is insane. And John Joe Selby's 75 grand a week, and he's been bombed out. He's been bombed out. It's insane. It's insane. Oh, right. We will get back to all this, right? Well, they haven't. This is the thing, Herbinder. They haven't, and they won't. Now, a lot of people mistake the situation at City to what's going on with Forest and Everton. It's different. City do have 115 charges, 118, whatever it is. But theirs is different. Theirs is about offshore accounts and all this sort of stuff. Theirs is dodgy accounting. However, this is the rules. You have an accounting period over 3 years. You have to, hit the profit and loss, profit and sustainability, and they haven't done that. And like Nottingham Forest are trying to get around it by saying, yeah, but we took 47 million for Brennan Johnson. So if you let us move that across, then we'd have hit the targets. We could have accepted 30 million previously from like Brentford, but we chose not to. Well, that's the rules. Just because you accepted a more, later on down the line, they shouldn't be able to get that through. And yeah, and again, it is different. It is different. It's not profit and sustainability. It's dodgy accounting. It's through the back door offshore accounting stuff. This is not. This is as Jamie says, you can't lose more than 105 mil. Yeah. But Clem, I suppose it's all relative because back then that money was probably arguably similar when him and his agent couldn't believe what Ridsdale was doing. But this is worse. This is worse. I'm sorry. Like, they lived the dream. Did we spend too much? Yes, we did. But we lived the dream. They lived the dream. At least we got Champions League. At least we got Champions League. Nottingham Forest got 2 seasons in the Prem. Insane, man. Insane. Anyway, we're gonna go through it all. Yeah. It is across a 3-year period, and to be honest, I think when you're newly promoted, i.e. Nottingham Forest, it's only 70 odd million, bro. I don't even think it's 105. I think the number is reduced because you've just been promoted. So I don't even think it's that, but we will go through it. But first of all, let me go back. I just had to share that because when I said 100 grand a week, you were all like sat there with your mouths open going, nah, you're lying. You're lying. She's lying. Jimmy Nail tax. I wasn't lying. It is insane. But there's even more little Easter eggs in there. I'm sorry, Forest fans, by the way. I'm sorry, Everton fans. But, this is what we do, right? We laugh, right? We laugh, fans, all that sort of stuff. Please do smash a like on the video if you haven't already. It massively helps the channel. There is a poll in there. Should Everton get another points deduction? Now, I'm pretty certain that Forest will. The reason I've asked just Everton is because they've already had 10 points. So do you think they deserve another points deduction, which could be another 10 points? 95% here. 95% believe they should. Bit of tribalism coming in there. Can't believe it's 100. I know, for John George Shelvey and Chris Wood. Do you know what as well, right? Let's just check something while we're at it. Let's just check something. I wanted to talk about Leeds first, but I feel like we're in already now. We might as well discuss just briefly before we go back. But I'm just gonna share with you this. So during his time at Nottingham Forest, John Joe Shelvey played 8 times, started 6, then fell out with Steve Cooper. And now is on loan in Turkey. Listen, man, I don't know you dare anyway, because when I said you were getting relegated, you clipped up a nice little thing on social media for me, didn't you? So this is get your own back, baby. No, but again, this isn't about yous. It's just Marinakos. Like, it's laughing at the state of it. But yeah, 75 grand a week there. Yeah, 75 grand a week for 6 starts. I just want to have a look at Chris Wood. Now, of course, Chris Wood has played recently and got a couple of goals, but is he worth 100 grand a week? Chris Wood's never been worth 100 grand a week. Even at his peak, was never worth 100 grand a week. Now, Chris Wood's stats, First season, 7 games, 5 starts, 1 goal. Second season, 18 games, 7 starts, 7 goals, 1 assist, 8 goal involvements. Bit better. But that first season there, remember, he only had to be in the match day squad 3 times, so he didn't even need to start. He got 100 grand a week for 1 goal. We are laughing. We are laughing. God, man. And the mad thing is, his agent didn't even need to do no work. Newcastle didn't need to do no work. Marinakos just busted in the door and went, there you go, mate. You're in the matchday squad 3 times. We'll give you 100 grand. And guess what, Newcastle? You'll get 15 million for the pleasure of it. Insane in the membrane. Insane in the brain. Anyway, we'll come back to that Nottingham Forest stuff, believe me. First of all, let's talk about some Leeds United stuff, and then we will come back to that because it was all fun. 488 watching. If you haven't already, smash a like on the video. Because news is pretty thin on the ground, I'm going to be doing the FA Cup game for you tonight. Bristol City versus West Ham. Will there be an upset? We will do that. So tonight, if you want to join us on the Just Your Football show for that watch on. Now, Phil here, obviously, on a Monday, does the Monday show on Square Ball. And he said, I'd be really surprised if they don't, given the situation that Creswell's in. I see no alternative but to find another centre-back or to find whether it's a full-back that can play at centre-back, something that covers that gap. So he believes that we will be bringing in players. I think we all do. It's just when. Farker is adamant on having 4 centre-backs in the squad. So if Creswell isn't involved, that leaves room for another one. And at right back, it was never the plan this month for both Spence and Ayling to go. So he has to rectify that situation as well. Now, I'm leaning towards them not getting a centre-back. And the reason I said that is what I said yesterday on the YouTube short as well, because Gruyev, but then again, you probably need to add another midfielder in there. But if you got a right back, would you? Because then Gray could go into midfield. So there's loads of different permutations going around my head right now. But do we need to go get a centre-back? Because we know now Ampadu can deputise there if needed. So you would then have Cooper, Strauch, Rodon and Ampadu. Do they need to then go get a centre-back? Because Gruyev can play in midfield. There's 4 centre-backs if you do let Creswell go. But then do you need a body in midfield? Well, if we go and get a right-back, then Gray can then either play right back or then move into midfield. But again, he's not your archetypal replacement for Ampadu, but Gruyev is that now. And Gruyev's been at a level where we can look at it and say, yeah, we're comfortable. So these are all discussions that will be going on, obviously, behind closed doors, you would imagine. Now, would I prefer them to go get an out-and-out centre-back? Yes. Would I prefer them to go get a right-back and a left-back? Yes. But sometimes we're not playing FIFA. We're not playing FM. It ain't about that. Yeah? So we'll have to wait and see. Just on this L as well, I mentioned it yesterday, could well happen. Could well happen. The only reason I see it happening is because Ampadu did as well as he did. But then we would need to get another centre-back. So it could happen, but Creswell's going to leave for me. I don't think Creswell's a Leeds United player come February the 1st, or February the 2nd, sorry, because the window shuts on the 1st, be that on loan or on transfer. So I think, if anything, I think Cooper will have to stay due to that fact. And I think he'll be happy to do so. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, you would have assumed both would have stayed. That's Ayling and Spence. But circumstances have dictated that. And in a way, you almost feel that right back has become as important as left back because of what's happened in the past fortnight. I have to agree with him. So it seems fairly obvious to me where the main focus needs to be. And while I can certainly see scope and merit in looking in the attacking midfield area, another 10, the most prudent thing to do, if Leeds are to do anything, is to strengthen at the back. And look, all the lead up to January, as a fan base, myself, the majority of yous were all saying, we have to get a 10. We have to get a 10. Now that Bamford's playing as well as he is and Rutter's amazing in the 10, we're going, no, now we need fullbacks. We need defensive. If we didn't get a 10, I'm totally fine with it. Vader off the bench, not great, but there is more pressing areas within the squad. I love this. Johan Cruyff. Someone said to me Cruyff on Twitter, and I was like, what are you on about? Cruyff? Nothing like him. And then I listened to the commentary by Bryn Law. He was calling him Cruyff. Now, what I will say is he's probably correct, like he is with Pirro's pronunciation of Pirro, because he'll have asked the players. how do I say your name? Ilya Groif. I say, I'm going with Gruev. Like, Ilya Groif. I mean, it's nice, it's similar, but yeah. Okay. So that's what Phil Hay has to say. There's been a lot of chatter on social media. Well, wacko more than likely. And listen, you can take, like, I remember when we spoke about Luke Ayling last week before it was officially announced, and you get mocked in the chat. It's all rumors, but sometimes you look at the person that's saying the rumor, where it's come from, and you think, yeah, there's enough validity in this. Now, there has been another post on Wacko that basically says, you will get another Premier League name from Phil in his next article, possibly two. Second one is proving harder to stand up than the first. I'm sure we'll be able to chat about one of them later in the week. We already know about Giles at Luton, if that is one. Okay, so there is stuff going on in the background. Now, one name I want to throw out there in the ether is Ryan Sessegnon. Now, Ryan Sessegnon has been injured. I think we clearly have a good relationship with Spurs. I think Greta Steinson's using definite links there. We've seen Joe Rodon come through the door. We've, of course, seen Jed Spence go through the door. Maybe Spurs are annoyed that we sent him back, but they'll totally understand it because he's had a stinker whilst at Leeds United. I'm just quickly checking to see if I've missed anything while we're being live. I haven't. And look, again, this is just an opinion piece that's been put together, but it's one worth maybe throwing out there in the ether. Well, it started off as an opinion piece, and then Spurs have come out and said that he is allowed to leave on loan. So this was an opinion piece. Let me just credit the writer who's done this, Danny Bloomer. This is on Leeds United News, but you know, the fact that Spence is available, I think it's worth discussing. Not Spence, God forbid Spence. Sessegnon have had obviously a barnstormer at Fulham. It's quite interesting when you look at Gray's minutes for a player under the age of 18. Sessegnon's up there. Two Leeds players are up there for the most minutes under the age of 18. You've got Jude Bellingham. You've got Lewis Cook at Leeds United. You've got Sessegnon at Fulham. There's some other names as well that escape me at this moment in time. But Sessegnon was one, and we know Spurs sometimes like to push the button a little bit too soon when getting players from the Championship. We've seen Jack Clark, Joe Rodon, and of course Jed Spence. So there's the history of doing this. They try and get these players in, and they don't amount to nothing, and then they have to move them on. And actually, Spurs, if I'm a Championship player looking at the history, I'm going, I'm not moving to your club. It ain't great. But let's just have a look at what has been reported since this opinion piece. Ange Postecoglou, or sources at Spurs, have told folks that Tottenham are willing to listen to offers for Ryan Sessegnon, Brian Hill, as well as Sergio Reguilon. Well, we know Reguilon's been at Manchester United, a failed loan. He's going to be available. Brian Hill, his minutes are going to be even few and far between now due to the fact that they brought in Timo Werner, who can play off the left when Son returns, Kulusevski, etc. His minutes are going to be light. And then Ryan Sessegnon. Well, Ryan Sessegnon has recently just come back from injury. And according to Sky Sports, I'll just quickly share this one with you as well. So Leeds are you can't even see it. So that'd be good if I actually share it with you. It says Leeds are primarily targeting the Premier League loan market to strengthen their squad. And one player who they should look at, again, opinion piece, who they should look at if he becomes available is Ryan Sessegnon. According to Sky Sports, Spurs could look to loan out Sessegnon before the end of the window, and he would be the perfect left back for Leeds at this level, which I have to agree with. However, we all thought that about Spence, so I don't want to get too giddy. Because he has been a good player on his day, but has not played a lot of minutes since them days. I'm just going to have a look, actually. Just how many minutes or game time he's had. I believe he's had a lot of injuries, hasn't been able to break through, etc. Let me just pull up his data on FPref and have a look at that. So you can see here in the last two seasons, he has amassed 15 games in 21-22 with 13 starts, which isn't bad going, 2 assists during that time. And then it's not this season. Last season, 17 played, 9 starts with 2 goals. obvious that they're in the Premier League as well, and then he has had an injury that he's recovering from now, which again, that could be an issue, because do we want to spend time getting a player up to speed? We've seen with Jed Spence that was a struggle, because when he came, he then got injured and had other issues, which meant we couldn't get him fit. And we've already got injured players on the books with the likes of Firpo and Byron. So do we really want another fullback that's injured? But it's clearly Ryan Sessegnon does have talent without any stretch of the imagination. If we look at his championship stats, again, this is a long time ago now. Let me just qualify that. But 15 goals, 6 assists, 21 goal involvements during his time at Fulham. I believe he might have been playing further forward at that time, but that'll be an area of the pitch he'd be picking it up at Leeds United anyway. Let me know if you can still hear me, folks, because I just had a call come through. I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and sometimes it knocks my volume off. But it looks like you can still hear me. But yeah, I think we would all agree on the face of it, Ryan Sessegnon would be a decent pickup for us. I do believe that. Just some more information on him. Let me just pull back up this original article. Spurs spent 25 million to sign him back in 2019. They're undecided on his future at this stage. Just looking at Tottenham, if we think about Spurs, they have Emerson Royale, they have Ben Davies, they have Udogie. Udogie's been phenomenal this season and really dealt with Garnacho on the weekend. Emerson Royale, yeah, they've got bodies there. So does he have a future there? Remains to be seen. The 23-year-old has spent most of the season on the sidelines, but made his return in the FA Cup almost 2 weeks ago, and regular football is now what he needs to return to full fitness. And that's that. So I'd love to know if people believe that Ryan Sessegnon would be a good loan deal. Look, should Everton get another points deduction? 92% of you have said yes. Now, what I am going to do is just end that poll, and I am going to put another poll out there for you folks, just to find out whether or not you feel that Ryan Sessegnon would be a good loan. Now, don't just think of like Sessegnon, what we know from back in the day. Think about he's currently needs to get to full fitness. Factor that in. Do we really want to be taking on another fullback that's just returning from injury, considering we've had some, etc., etc.? So I am putting a poll in there. Please do vote in the poll as well, just to get the general consensus. Jamie says, wouldn't be my first choice, but I'd take him. Here's a mad thing. Would you rather take Ryan Giles or Sessegnon? One to consider. Who's the better player? I would argue Sessegnon, but Ryan Giles done it more recently. Not getting game at Luton though. That maybe I'm incorrect to say that, but listen, we all thought we were getting the world when we got Spence, and look how that turned out. So understand Gladbach are now looking for a loan deal for future number 1 Jan Olszkowski, goalkeeper. I don't think we'll go after a goalkeeper, but just mentioning that. Everton firmly believe their appeal hearing will show new charges are groundless. We'll wait and see. Of course, they're going to say that, though. We shall wait and see. So Ryan Sessegnon, one to consider. As I said to you earlier on, it's now been reported from the Spurs side that they will allow 3 players at Spurs to go on loan, and they'll let 3 more senior players leave this month. Ryan Sessegnon being mentioned as one of them. Okay. Now, if we go back to some other articles, again, this is an opinion piece, but the writer of this article believes Leeds should be in the race for Plymouth star Morgan Whittaker. He's apparently linked to Southampton, and yeah, Russell Martin likes him. Do you think that's one that we should be looking at? I read in this story, he's wanted by clubs in Italy. Look, the Mail's confidential page claimed that top tier and championship clubs are tracking Whittaker, such as Serie A side, Atlanta. The Italians have identified England's second division as a scouting pool. I can't lie to you. The mad thing is, that's bang on, by the way. If you look at some of the players that are leaving to go abroad from the under 21s, if you like, of top 6 Premier League clubs, or championships. Quite amazing, really. The English game is that good now, right? That you have other top clubs in Europe's top 5 leagues actually scouting Premier League's youth teams and the Championship. This is how elite the Premier League is and English football is as a whole. It won't be long before the Championship is considered one of Europe's top 5 leagues. I'm only joking, but yeah, Morgan Whittaker won. Again, it's a deal that Leeds United for me won't look at. Not now. Not area of the pitch we need. Is he a good player? Yes. Do I think we will entertain it? No. The reason I say that is because I don't see us spending money this window. And if we do spend money, I don't think it'll be a player on Morgan Whittaker. Maybe one that we miss. But then again, here's a question for you. That poll's still running, but it's easy now with hindsight to side with this. Now, let me talk about the player first of all. Victor Gyökeres. Gyökeres has been linked with Chelsea. For like somewhere of £73 million. Now, Ben Jacobs has come out and rubbished that this morning, but there's stories out there that Chelsea bid for failed Leeds target Gyökeres. Now, of course, this has no bearing on us now, but I'm just interested to know, like, do you take Gyökeres last season or do you take Rutter this season? I hope that makes sense. Like, does Gyökeres keep us in the Prem, or are you happy that we have Rutter in the form that we have now, the player we have now? It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I love Rutter. I do love Rutter, but just noticed behind. Elton, 73 million for a player that's had one good season. I won't say he's had one, mate, because he's gone over to Portugal and he's smashing it over there as well. Let's just take them down, Joe. Should have left it alone. We'll sort that out later. Someone keeps telling me actually get blue tack. That's fair. Don't know, Jamie. I don't know. Not with the managers that we had. Not with the managers we had, but I do believe there's something in that. Yeah. I mean, we ain't mega rich, had we? Joe always thinking about that choice, but I still don't think with Gyökeres we stay up. Maybe not. With it, the managers were the ones that killed us, weren't they? In the end of the day, but apparently on his way to Chelsea. Although a lot of sources this morning of rubbish that Mourinho sacked this morning. I think that'll alert Newcastle bosses personally. Christensen back, Llorente. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? They've already got their new manager, haven't they? De Rossi, Daniela De Rossi, looks hard as nails. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Marseille have pulled out of the race for Josh Doig. Does that mean he's back available? Yes, it does. Do I think Leeds United will entertain it? No. Clearly, Josh Doig is a top player, hence why clubs in Europe's top 5 leagues are looking at him. There was talk of even Arsenal maybe entering the race. Obviously, Kieran Tierney's on loan. They've said they're not going to return him. Zinchenko's having a nightmare season, defensively anyway. But look, I just don't see Leeds United paying the money. And, he was available for around about 6 million. But that could also increase now with the amount of interest that's in him. So I just don't see the pull. Just on this as well, right? Yes, Jose's a winner, but people complain about snooze ball under Southgate. It won't be much better under Mourinho. So I don't understand it, but it is what it is. I'd have liked Mourinho back in the day, not now. Again, this story's been linked. This guy loves Leeds United clearly, or they're just having a slow news day. But Borna Barisic, he's not coming to Leeds, nor do we want him. 31. Yeah, I don't know why he keeps being linked. Was in the past, maybe there was some validity to it, but not now. Apparently, Marc Roca has held conversations with the Real Betis about a permanent deal. Leeds United man Marc Roca has held conversations with Real Betis about potential permanent transfer if the Whites don't get promoted this season. Roca has been on loan. The midfielder has played 19 games for Betis, scoring 2 and assisting twice. He's wanting to stay at Betis. I think I can understand that. beyond this season, and should Leeds United fail to earn promotion this season, the Spanish club either have the option to extend the loan for an extra year or pay 12 million for a permanent deal. We'll have to wait and see. But I just don't see, if I'm being honest, I don't see many of them players returning. And I think Rocker doesn't fit in the same, for whatever reason. For me, Rocker isn't in with the likes of Aronson, Christensen, because there wasn't a good player there. There is a good player there. Just, again, wrong manager, wrong time. If he was playing under Bielsa, it'd be a different story. So he's going to leave. I don't think any of us expect him not to. Just on Creswell, Alan Nixon's been talking again. He seems to have not steered anyone. I don't even think it's that, Jamie. I don't, on Rocker, it's not that. It's the team that he plays in. You can't tell me he wouldn't play well in a Pep side. I'm not saying his City level, but it's the team. The football that we played did not cater to Bart Rocker. Alan Nixon talking about Creswell. Apparently, Blackburn could offer Leeds United $2 million for Charlie Creswell, even though we want 5. He's basically said it is suggested that they could go up to $2 million for the defender in the hope that will be enough to convince Leeds to sell. I'll tell you now, it won't be. Okay, so if Blackburn do want to enter the talks, it's going to cost you more than that. I can assure you. I think they want 4 or 5, with also clauses in there that mean we could see him return. Buyback clause, a sell-on clause, all that sort of stuff. I just want to talk on my guy now, because I know he's not a Leeds United player, but I still love him to death. Is called Calvin Phillips. Calvin Phillips is wanted by a host of clubs, Juve, Newcastle, etc. And it says Newcastle United and Crystal Palace are both pursuing a move for Calvin. However, Selhurst Park is viewed as the most likely destination for him. That'd be a bit of a fall-off for me. Sorry, Crystal Palace fans. Sorry, D. But if he does go Palace, that ain't great. He needs to be going to Newcastle, but Newcastle's financial issues might cause problems. But it says Newcastle are viewed as strong contenders for his signature. However, City wants 7 million loan fee plus an obligation to buy. And if it don't go well, you have to buy him. Do you know what I mean? I think the thing is, for me, City will have to cool that. City will have to cool that, because ultimately it doesn't help anybody. Like, guarantee by February the 2nd, he will be at a different club. The reason I say that is because at the end of the day, if it gets to February the 1st and he's still at City, they're going to say, do you know what? Just let him go. Because I think they owe him that. Pep said that. He's been a model professional. They'll want him to go get minutes. City are mega rich. Of course, they're no mugs, but they'll look at it and say, do you know what? Let him go. We'll reduce the loan fee. Okay, you don't have to have an obligation. You can have an option. Something will happen for Calvin. He won't be at City February the 2nd. He will be pushing for that as well, because he'll want to stay in the Euros squad. He'll want to stay in the Euro squad. 100k, yeah, we're coming back to that, Simon. Don't worry. Hold on to your hat. We will be back. We're almost done with the Leeds United stories, all right? We're coming back to this article. We will be there. We will be there. I disagree again. 14 Yorks. It wasn't that he's not good enough. It's the style that we played that didn't suit him. Spurs fans have been doing an article just on their loan watch. I've been chatting about Joe Rodon, and they echo a lot of our sentiments. It continues to go to strength for him. Named the club's player of the month for December. Forget Virgil van Strauch, now it's Virgil van Rodon. Look, we are desperate to sign him for sure. The only problem is there isn't an option or obligation or anything like that. And again, we don't have the money to pay for him right now. Like, let's be honest. Well, I mean, we may have the money, but I think it'd be silly for us to go and spend 20, 25 million, probably what they'll want, 15 million. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. But it does say, however, Leeds may be forced to wait until they know whether they'll be back in the Premier League with the financial boost that brings, which could allow other clubs a shot at signing the Welshman in the summer. That's one thing we can say categorically. If we get promoted, he's not staying. A team who's just been promoted or a team towards the bottom end of the Premier League takes him all day because he's been phenomenal. Rodon does say, I can't answer when asked about his future. I can't answer the question. All I can say is I'm focusing on the next game and see what happens. Of course, I'm here for the season and my job is to give everything and try to be as successful as I possibly can with this team and this club. And let's be honest, he has been unbelievable, standout, one of the standout players for the side, 100%. So that's what Spurs fans have had to say on Jed Spence. And I think we might be caught up. I think we might be caught up on all the latest Leeds United doing the rounds. Okay. Exclusive though, Brentford are among the clubs interested in Norwich stalwart Jonathan Rowe as they hunt for a new left winger. At least they're not coming after Somerville. That's a positive. And again, Leeds United aren't gonna be entering no race for Jonathan Rowe if he's wanted by the Premier League. Big up Simon Jakes, who's just become a member. Please be nice as well. I don't know who we're talking to. Like, I have a lot of fans from opposing sides and all that sort of stuff, and it massively helps the channel. So please keep it sweet in the chat. Don't be personal to one another and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, you know how it is. We've got a great community and let's not spoil that, right? Big up to Simon Jakes, who's just become a member of Just Joe FC. Big up to you, man. Thank you very much for your support. I was looking the other day, I have 170. If it was right, that might be just in. I think I've got 176 members. That's fucking insane. It's so humbling. Like, I was just having a look at some stuff I didn't have no work on, obviously, and I was like, wow, that is just unreal. Unreal. So thank you all for those members that are out there. Big up for those that have bought members for other people as well. That's amazing when they gift out their memberships. I can't lie to you. Right, so we're up to date now on the Leeds United stories. It would seem we're now going to get some fun, and we're going to have a chat about Nottingham Forest. Look, again, let me qualify this statement. I'm just laughing at the situation that you find yourself in because your owners are madhead. I actually rate Forest as an institution. They're a massive football club. They've won Champions Leagues, man. Everton are a massive club as well. Never been relegated, Just on the Ryan Sessegnon thing, Ryan Sessegnon, good pickup on loan. 66% say yes. Yeah, 66% say yes. Watch this space then on that one. We're all waiting for Phil Hayes' latest article on the transfer news, and then it'll all go buff for a few days, won't it? Which is good, which is what we need. 31 days in January. That leaves us with 15 days. 15 days left in the window, folks, as well. Actually, 16, because it closes on February the 1st, not the 31st of Jan. Remember, you can keep it all covered on here. Heads up as well on the scouting report. That's going to be Thursday this week. And we're going to be looking at centre-backs. And based on what Phil Hay said on the Square Ball pod, at the end of the day, if Cooper is maybe surplus to requirements and Creswell is allowed to leave, we will still have 4. So, yeah. Right, Nottingham Forest. Let's have some fun. We'll try go through it, quick. We'll try go. Yeah, Matt, do you honestly think we won't sign anyone? I don't think anyone's under that impression that we won't. If you are, I'm quite surprised. I think we all know we're going to sign someone. Surely. Yeah, true. I hate having cold hands when he got mate. I don't know where that came up. I was clicking it. I got cold hands. My house is freezing. I've turned my heating off again, but it's going to have to go on. Honestly, it's mad. Nottingham Forest have been on a thrilling ride. It did not need to end with an asterisk. Have they been on a thrilling ride? Relegation scraps? I'm not too sure. We will go through it. I'm going to go through it as quick as I can. But like I say, there's some real nuggets in here. Yeah. 15th place Forest could be torpedoed into the relegation zone. Of course, they could be looking at deductions. Now, of course, they are. What I will say, they are trying to get around this. What they're saying is, and I've listened to a lot of podcasts and taken in a lot of them information, as I tend to do, try to do, so I can be informed. What they're trying to do is, because after August, Brennan Johnson money was received, I think it was like 47 million, which is a lot of money, by the way. And they're saying that should be included in the accounting for the previous season, at which point they'd then be good. Their excuses, well, we could have accepted 30 million back then, but you chose not to. That's not the rules. Do you know what I mean? Because if that was the rules, everyone could turn around and go, yeah, but we could have also sold that player back then. You know what I mean? You can't do that. It's the past is the past. Yeah, again, Vega, it's not the same. They're not one and the same. Definitely not one and the same. Going back to it. Right, okay. I do just want to go through. Not everyone seems to agree with that sentiment, judging by the responses on social media. If anybody, for example, dares to question whether Militis Marinakis, the 24-year-old son of the owner, is the right person to have in charge of transfers. This is what I mean. He put his son in charge of a Premier League club and basically was like a kid in a sweet shop. Let's be honest. How many players did they buy? And we were all saying it won't work. Now, because we were shit and the other teams that came down with us were shit, Steve Cooper managed to keep them up. He managed to keep them up. But it still hasn't worked, has it? Because now we find ourselves in a situation, or Forest do, where they're going to get a points deduction. It ain't great. Even some of the players, no disrespect, even some of the players that they were buying were has-beens. Didn't make sense. They were linked at one point to what's his face, man, who was at Chelsea, Batshuayi. Like some of the names, man, it was mad. Matt, this is the truth. This is the truth. Let me go back to the article. So let's walk through this again for the umpteenth time in analysing Marinakis' empire. Okay. So we'll go through some of the stuff he has done. I am just going to try go through it as I can. Right. Ask any Forest fan who experienced the club's 23 years outside the top division, and they will agree the blitz of signings since promotion, which is 29 players last season, 13 halfway through this, has been preferable to the transfer embargoes under previous owner Fawaz Al-Hawasi. Before that, the financial restrictions of Nigel Doherty's regime. Of course. As fans, we love to sign players. It's a new shiny toy, as my good friend Dan Moylan would say. Of course, no one's under the illusion, because we don't really put into our heads, although fandom is changing, because now we're more aware of FFP and stuff like that. It is changing. No, it is. We're all aware of charges and all that. We're all having to become accountants, for example. But when you play FIFA, when you play FM, the most exciting times in them games, and in other video games, is the January window, is the transfer window, because you get to change. You get to change players. So as fans, it's the same as well. How exciting is it? Like, and I can tell you, I can say on record, as a content creator, the most exposure your channel gets is during transfer windows. Let's not forget, in August, I achieved 1 million views for a month. 1 million. That is insane when you compare it with all my other months. So that tells you transfer season for fans is amazing. It's amazing. So I get what they're saying. Like Forest fans, you think they're bothered at the time when they're getting all these players? Of course they were defending it, saying we had to. We had so many loans. But really deep down, you knew this weren't going to end well. This weren't going to end well. Everyone outside of Forest was saying this. Now, of course, they stayed up. They could say, well, we were right. But now, kicking the can down the road, you were wrong. The article goes on to say, let's be honest, most fans want or even crave their clubs to spend money. Of course we do. Of course we do. The bigger the fee, the more excitement. Here we go, and all that razzmatazz. Yeah? It has become a sport in itself, one in which Militadis has become an enthusiastic participant, which, of course, is the son of the owner. Nobody objected, therefore, when Jesse Lingard arrived on the highest salary of any Forest player in history. Again, we all mocked at this, by the way. We all knew, we all said it at the time, this was a mercenary deal. This was a mercenary deal because my man was in America twerking to try and get a club out there. Didn't come. Yeah. He also could have gone back to West Ham, where he had an amazing season, was close to getting an England call-up, or maybe he even did. Can't remember. but he was smashing it. I don't think he did get an All-England call-up, but there was calls for it. He could have played in Europe with West Ham, and he said, nah, I'm going to go to Forest. Why? For money. Don't have anyone tell you any different. He might have done interviews saying different. I wish players would just come out and say, I do it for the money. Like Henderson now, who now wants to come back with his tail between his legs, and he's been told Dev off. Deservedly so. So we all knew this wasn't going to end well. Now, very few fans raised objections. Why would they? Of course, Forest fans, this is, not us. When the owner, I can't pronounce his name, so I'm just going to say the owner, but I mean the owner's son, announced signing after signing and instructed Forest that his own social media account, not the club's website, should go first with Lingard's announcement. Again, come on. This is a toy for him. Why would he say to a football club, I'm announcing that? I'm going to announce this. What's all that about? It's Radrazani levels of, look at me, look at me. Like, come on. Anyway, let's go on, because it gets better. It's juicy. It's juicy, as Biggie would say. It was new, exciting, and part of a wider story that involved Marinocca Senior telling supporters to prepare for trophies. My man's going, prepare for trophies, baby. Get the red panties out. We're going on a European charge. They was in relegation battle. Forest spent more in the summer of 22 than Real Madrid, Barcelona, and PSG. Okay, Barcelona ain't such big things. They're a basket case at the minute. A new signing arrived on average every 4 days. 30 signings. Who gives a F? The fans sang. I'm sorry, Forest fans. Are you singing that now? I'm sorry, man. I'm just joking, but a Forest fans singing 30 signings. Who gives a fuck? I'd be singing that then. Now, you do give a fuck. Oh, God. Now we have the answer. The Premier League. Questions have to be asked about the people who assured us they never lost sight of the PSR limits. What was permissible and what was not. Don't forget to smash a like on the video while you're here and subscribe, okay? Exactly. Signed Omar Badelli, not played one game, okay? Anyway, many of the articles you will read in the coming days and weeks will focus on Brennan Johnson's transfer to Spurs, since it will form a large part of Forest's mitigation. This is the point that I was saying to you earlier. If Johnson had been sold at the start of the summer, there'd be no problem. But it would have meant accepting 30 million from Brentford, whom he did not join, whereas Spurs ended up paying 47.5, okay, in September, so after August, yeah? Forest held out for the better deal, and that was the near miss that took the club past profit and sustainability deadline. They may get back. That could be enough for them. But I'm not sure. I think the Premier League are looking at this saying, we're ruling with an iron fist. No more for you to take the piss. And I would argue this is how it should work, because it means clubs will operate correctly. Anyway, many people inside the City ground believe the entire PSR system should be... Well, of course they do. Come on, man. Why they ask, should a club in Forest position should be stopped from splashing cash? What kind of closed shop is this? Well, you're not doing it sustainably, if that's a word. You are not being sustainable by the way that you are operating. It will end in tears. If you was allowed to continue to do this, Marinakis, can you imagine what would happen? I'm going to go through managers after managers like he does with his Greek team, Olympiacos, and he would run the club into the ground. And then at what point does he say, I've had enough, or runs out of money? Boom. Then what? Then the club goes under. Look at Reading right now. Reading were a Premier League club. That owner spent so much money trying to get them into the Premier League. They lose in the playoff final, and now he's gone, oh, I'm going to suffer through profit and sustainability. You're not getting any more money from me. Till he gets to a point where he can't do anything. They can't take him to case on it. And look at the state of Reading now. So this is why these rules are there. And listen, as much as we enjoyed the Champions League, that doesn't happen to us now. And we'd still be a Premier League club. We would have still been a Premier League club. This is true. And we'd still be dining at the top table for me. We'd be one of the big six. I'm telling you now, and we would have. We were there. We were at the table, Champions League, Europa League. We were there. And then all the money comes. The money was there, but then it all came. And then you have other clubs that are there, but we were there. Now, if he was a little bit more reasonable and didn't throw everything at it on the proviso that we get Europe and be able to pay everyone off, and then we won't be there. Do you know what I mean? So you have to factor that in. And they have a point. The rules seem particularly stacked against promoted teams, especially one in Forest's case that had barely half a side when they came up because of previous dependency on loan players. But again, that's something look, at the end of the day, Forest didn't, for me, believe they were going to get promoted. So I do sympathise with them because let's be honest, when Steve Cooper picked them up, they were down in the relegation zone, I think, right? So maybe they were just, getting by loans, trying to climb up the league. I'm not too sure. But it is fair to say that they weren't really prepared. But it still, for me, doesn't forgive that amount of players. You didn't need that many, surely. Especially when you consider the likes of, again, you can't have a case for me when, as a football club, you did what you did with Chris Wood and John Joe Shelby. Newcastle could not believe their eyes. And there's more stories as well. There is more, right? We're going to it. We'll go back to it. Sorry, I'm rambling. Nor should anyone expect Forest to become the first team in history of the sport to get every transfer right. No, of course not. It just doesn't happen that way. Some work out, others less so. The secret is trying to get more like Stone Collymore and a fewer of Robert Rosario, if you know your history. I know Collymore, I don't know Rosario. Anyway, Marinakis, for example, has unearthed a gem in Murillo since a contact tipped him off that there was a young Brazilian centre-half available for around 15 million from Corinthians who would not look out of place in Manchester City's defence. Danilo, another Brazilian, could end up making the club of not a lot of money. Morgan Gibbs-White, one of Forest's most expensive signings, is a joy to watch. Yes, of course, you can't always get them right. But if you throw enough shit at a wall, it's going to stick eventually, right? Anyway, ultimately, though, you can get a decent idea of how Forest operate from the fact they finished the last transfer window with 4 right-backs and 8 centre-backs. Again, that's just silly. It's silly season. This is why I prefer the way my club operates. I'm having a discussion with you folks on here saying, do you know what? We might not get a centre-back because Ampadu can play in there. And do you know the fullbacks, if we get him one, we don't have to like it, but sometimes you have to, be a little bit more reasonable to say, if we did get Ben Johnson who can play either side, do we really need to go get another? And I can sort of sympathise with the club having these discussions. Forest weren't doing that. How can you end the season with 8 centre-backs and 4 right-backs? Like, what are you doing? This is silly season. Everything can feel very jumbled sometimes. Randall is previously on record as saying that Forest under Marinakis have been guilty at times of short-termism. No shit. Others will recall that Forest began their first season back in the top division with a blank space on the players' shirts because Marinakis was dissatisfied with the offers proposed by potential sponsors and rejected them all. That money, on reflection, could have been extremely useful running into millions of pounds. This is where it starts to get silly. There is the story of Omar Richards, who joined from Bayern Munich without anybody realising he had a fractured leg. I'm sorry. This is your fault. Yeah? Why would you sign a player that's legs broke? You are not checking your mirrors at this point. Yeah? If you are coming in and signing, I'd love to. How much did they pay for Omar Richards? We have to find this out, by the way, because it's not there. I have to find this out. Omar Richards. Let me transfer him out. Okay. 8.5 million. 8.5 million for a player whose legs were snapped into. Nottingham Forest man signing paraplegics. This is what we're dealing with. Anyway, there is a story of Omar Richards who joined from Bayern Munich without anybody realising he had a fractured leg. Can you imagine? He paid 8.5 million and he comes in for his medical in a wheelchair. Man. Somehow Richards passed the medical. that he underwent in Greece. Again, this is your own fault. They own Olympiacos. They are over in Greece. They've gone, do you know what? Just put it through. They've put it through. This is the worst thing, Michael. He had one. He had a medical, yeah? And the club went, just put it through. Don't worry about it. Anyway, back to it. I'm sorry, Forest fans. He cost 8.5 million, and 18 months on, has not played a single minute for the football club. No, he's not played a single minute. Hey, that is basically burning your money. Like what? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I feel sorry for, as well as the Forest fans? Steve Cooper. This is what I mean. People would try to say he's a bad manager. Imagine having to deal with this. Oh, I've got your new player buzzing. Where's the player? Oh, it's defender Omar Retches. QPR was at Bayern Munich. Yeah, sound cool. Is he fit? No. What's he doing then? Oh, you'll be able to get your balls out. I don't know. I don't know what we're dealing with. We could go on. Please do go on. I'm enjoying it. Harry Arter, for example, is still on the payroll more than 3 years after his last game. Arter's contract earns him 40 grand a week, and the tragic comedy is that an extra year was triggered automatically, including bonuses after promotion. He is not the reason Forest have fallen out of PSR. He is, however, a symbol of the club's excess earning 6 million in wages since his involvement. He sat there at home like that. Again, get the red panties out. I'm not having to play. Yeah. And I'm earning 6 million. It's mad. It is mad. Let's continue. Or just consider how much money Forest have thrown at trying to find an elite goalkeeper since the strange and unsatisfactory parting of the ways with Bryce Samba. Again, a top keeper, by the way. Okay. Last seen at French Club Lens being nominated for the Yashin Trophy, the award for world's best number one. This is the madness of that situation, by the way. They got promoted and then sold him. Why? Look what he's doing now. Like I say, he's winning awards. He was in the team of the year. I remember having him on FIFA. You know what I mean? Madness. All the while, Forest supporters were enjoying the ride so much, they had no real appetite to question whether everything was in hand. Why would you, by the way? Why would you? Because as a fan, we shouldn't have to, by the way. Forest fans enjoying the ride, staying up, going to grounds like, the Etihad, the Emirates, Anfield. Of course, they're back. You love that. But, why would you? It's not on a fan. It's not on a fan to do this. Who can blame them for wanting to embrace happier times? Exactly. Most fans want to just assume their club is running a way that avoids these dramas. Forest's case, they were assured more than once that the club had made it a priority not to exceed PSR limits. They're lying, yeah? For Randall, that represents a personal embarrassment. PSR was supposed to be his area of expertise, along with overseeing the building of a new stand, and both subjects have become an ordeal for the club. Who is this Randall? Is it that guy from fecking Recess? We have always compiled with PSR. Randall Casey said a while back, and we will continue to do so. That's always been a part of our philosophy. Right, Randall? Bullshit, man. What is not clear is whether this might affect his position. Well, it should do. But then again, it's the Marinakis, isn't it? Randall was removed as chairman earlier this season after displeasing Marinakis over several unrelated matters. For a while, he was not given a seat in the boardroom before matches. I was put on gardening duty just because he probably said to Marinakis, I don't like that. Mental. He was kept on as a non-executive director primarily because of his apparent knowledge of PSR and the relationships he had formed with the Premier League, but his latest developments reflect badly on him. Nick DiMarco Casey has been brought in to oversee the case. The overall impression that various people within the Marinakis regime have lost faith in Randall. No shit. And at that same time, it was Neville Randall signing off the transfers, identifying the players or agreeing their salaries. That ultimately was Marinakis. And it'll be interesting to see the owner's reaction. Does he come out swinging, or does he accept responsibility? Can he understand why some people with knowledge of the situation think it is a problem that nobody at the club other than himself has the authority to rein in? His son, basically. Tell me about it, Dave. But the thing is, they didn't have there. What have they done? They've had 2 seasons in the Premier League. Come on, man. It's not a dream, is it? By the time we spoke about this right at the start, but anyone who is joining us late, this is a joy to behold. By the time Forest signed Chris Wood and John Joe Shelby from Newcastle United last January, they knew the numbers contained all sorts of risks. They went ahead and did it anyway. Wood signed on loan with a clause in his contract that triggered a £15 million deal on 100k a week. Chris Wood on 100k a week. As soon as he was named in the matchday squad 3 times. Not even starting. Normally, look at us. Look at Roma with Llorente if he plays half the games or whatever. This was just be on the sub bench 3 times. And he got 100k a week. Chris Wood. Carrying on. Shelby was given a 2.5-year contract on roughly 75k a week. And within St James's Park, the 2 transfers created something bordering on amazement. Put bluntly, they could not believe Forest thought it was good business. Can you imagine them? Newcastle in the... Are they taking the piss? Oh, man. It's mental. Filippo Giraldi, then Forest's sporting director, lost his job as a result, in part, for being the man who recommended the 2 players. George Sirianos, the former head of recruitment, who had been sacked because members of Forest hierarchy were not impressed by one of his picks, Awoni. Well, I tell you what, he's the one. He's the decent player they've got, who cost 17.5 million from Union Berlin. That was 2 months into the 22-23 season, so they sacked him off for that. When Awoni established himself as a key player, Forest went back to Sirianos, apologised, and offered him a role. What I say? We're really sorry. You actually did sign a good player, because remember, this guy was looking at people like Batshuayi, maybe names, and he's brought them Awoni, who came through the books at Liverpool, at Union Berlin. Didn't have a great start to the season, but neither did Forest. And then he starts bagging goals, and they go, "We're sorry. Can you come back?" You know what I mean? Because we've let this guy run amok, and he signed Chris Wood on 100 grand a week. And now it is a waiting game for the most part, with the cloud hanging over Forest season. Marinakis has not said anything, neither have his son, and nor has Randall. Nuno will hold the news conference on Tuesday, and you have to feel sorry for him. Not even 4 weeks into the job, that it is the manager, not the people above him, who has to explain why the Premier League table might soon have an asterisk at the end of Forest's name. Of course, you would have feel that they will receive a points deduction, more than likely. Everton, we know the Everton situation as well. Everton, there's another article that's been done, as well. We know how mad they have. They spent 100 million across 3 seasons in the likes of Ben Godfrey, Doucouré, and James Rodriguez. James Rodriguez did well under Ancelotti, but they were wild as well, let's be honest. Accounts for last season for Forest, but bear in mind that their wage bill in 20 was 37.2 million. In the Championship was more than double their turnover. Following season, still in the Championship, it was very nearly doable that their turnover, even with COVID restrictions lifted. In the summer of 22, having won promotion to the Premier League, they signed 22 first-team players, 9 permanent, 3 loans, then another 7, for a total cost of 150 million in transfer fees. And then obviously you've got to consider the impacts on the wage bill. So it was very reckless by both camps, Mashiri of Everton and, of course, Marinakis. So the Marinakis thing, like you say, 22 players. Sorry, I just shortened that. I was trying to highlight it. 22 players in one summer. He's mad, But again, look at this. Again, on Forest. In a single season, they signed 4 senior goalkeepers. 4. Henderson, Hennessy, Kanarich, and then Navas. 4 people, man. 3 right-backs. Biancorn, Williams, Aurier. 3 left-backs. Omar Richards, Harry Toffolo, Renan Lodi. 5 centre forwards, Awani, Dennis, Wang Ujo, Andre Ayew, and Chris Wood. Remember Chris Wood on 100 grand a week, by the way. This season, they have signed another 2 goalkeepers, Matt Turner and Vlachodimos. So what's that? 7 goalkeepers in 2 years. Another 2 right backs, another left back, and another centre forwards. Oh, man. He said it was unavoidable. It is unavoidable, Marinakos. I'm sorry. And any Forest fans that tell me you had to, you didn't need to sign 7 goalkeepers. You didn't need to sign fucking 10 right backs and 2 forwards. And 2 forwards on top of the 7 you already had. You did not need to do that. It's mad. It is mad. It's madness of the highest order. Genuinely. It is madness. I tell you what, let's do, just before we finish up. This has been a very enjoyable stream, if I do say so myself. I'm going to have a look on Copology. And I want to have a look at Nottingham Forest. Just to see what some of these players are earning. Oh, God. Now, remember, some of this, if it's got the verified tick, they know it's right. Now, there's deals on here that contradict what Athletic are telling us. I'll take Athletic with the 100 grand. But here we go. So these are some of the earnings that they're on. Divock Origi, remember it's got the verified tick, 120 grand a week. Divock Origi is on £120,000 a week. Felipe, 80 grand, I can sort of understand. Hudson-Odoi, 80 grand a week. Morgan Gibbs-White, he's probably the only player that deserves to be on 120 grand a week. Chris Wood, it says here 80, but let's not forget the Athletic tell us it's 100. Sangaire, 75. Joe Worrell, 50. Awani, 50. Aurier, 50. Williams, 50. This is the thing as well. You think we're getting Williams? I mean, I know the club want him, but best believe they need to be shouldering some of that, because I don't want us paying 50 grand a week. Definitely not. Niakate, Chekuyate. I mean, look at the list of players. It's insane. It is insane, man. The amount of money that they've shouldered off. So you can't really complain. It's their accountant, Deanne Abbott. I don't know, man, but I don't want that accountant, I tell you that much. Oh, God. Let's just check up, see if we've missed anything while we've been going through this. 1 second. I'm just checking over the news. Forest to adopt cautious approach to January window. No shit. There's a new article on the Telegraph. Focus more on players out than in with a net zero spend. At this stage, Nuno's set to stick with current goalkeepers. Tavares and Origi loans to be reviewed. Okay. There you go. Maybe we can get Nico Williams then. Well, this is... No. I didn't have him, bro. I didn't have him, did I? Copology did, bro. Yeah, I mean, of course, Forest. There's the. I'll share it with you. Look, one sec. I can't go on the Telegraph though. You've got to pay for their behind a paywall, and I've done it before. And their articles are shit, and they never leave you alone. Forest to adapt cautious approach for January window. Focus more play out than in. No shit, Sherlock. And do not at this stage, Marinakos, take your son, and you know, like, remember them programs like Bad Lads and that, where they used to send the kids to America to go through training camps to make them well behaved. Do that with your son. Ship him off somewhere to an island and say, stay there, you. Not that his dad's much better, by the way, but yeah, mental. Bad Lads Abroad or whatever it was called. I don't know. 7. Imagine that. Like Nuno coming in. Right, okay, what am I working with? You got 7 goalkeepers. Decent. Who's the best? Matt Turner. I'd be like, are you taking the fucking piss out of me? You have 7 goalkeepers, and the best you've got is the third choice keeper from Arsenal. We need another. That's what we're saying. We need another goalkeeper. Oh, might as well. You know, we got 8. Yeah, might as well. We've already got 7. Let's get an 8th in. This is not true, by the way, Dr. Cox. That's lies. I don't know where that's come from. I'm not sure on that. I'm just having a look at some news, just to see if we've missed anything. No, I don't think we have. Yeah, we're all up to date there. I'm just checking. Sorry about this, folks, if it's gone a little bit quiet, but I've got certain sites that I check and just double check on Twitter notifications, see if I've missed anything. That's Josh Doig. We spoke about him. That's Rodon. We've spoke about him. Apparently, according to Football London, Leeds could try and get Joe Rodon permanent. I don't agree, but I hope they're right, and that means we've got a lot more money. Phil thinks we'll see signings in the defensive areas. Farker could supercharge James in Leeds swoop for 50k. Premier League Dynamo, who's that? Nico Williams. Listen, on Nico Williams, I said not a chance, but now after seeing this, maybe just maybe. But again, who's going to look? They need to be getting their money. They need to be getting their money in somehow. Now, they're not going to give him to Leeds United free of charge or pay his wages. Do you know what I mean? They can't, can they? How can they? Do you know what I mean? I just called to say we're fucked. And we're gonna get a 10-point deduction. That's what we're dealing with. Honestly, yeah. So I can't see a situation, unless they can get round it somehow, but I can't see a situation in which they give him to us with us paying his wages and that, because they need the money. They need the money. Some actual news on Everton, by the way. Richard Masters says the Premier League is still weeks away from making a decision on 777's proposed takeover of Everton. Do you know what? Everton, they don't want them. They don't want them, by the way, because they're just as bad. All their clubs, they run into the ground. Honestly, it ain't looking good for these 2 clubs. I can't lie. I feel sorry for them. I do. Them personally, but the owners, nah. Not when we were sticking to rules, man. We were sticking to rules. It ain't looking good, brother. It ain't looking good. Anyway, look. Now, I don't know, Jamie. More will be revealed. Don't go anywhere. Listen, it's 1 hour and 15 minutes. I'm going to be talking a bit more about this on LB's channel. He sent me a message. Or maybe not. We're going to be talking about Phillips. We're going to be talking about Phillips over on LB. It's LB, the City fan, who came on here to speak about Calvin Phillips. So, yeah, make sure you join me there. I thought it was going to be a quiet day. It's actually been a good day. Yeah. It's going to be a good day. I will be back tonight as well. I'm going to do West Ham versus Bristol City. And then we might do a late night Leeds, depending on news. It's been very quiet on it. So watch this space. But enjoy the rest of your day. Yeah, like the video. It's been fun today. Great. Peace out, folks. I love you. I just called.